Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to
What do Americans think is normal but everyone else finds weird? Ask Reddit.
Hello. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Ask Reddit. My name is Evan Edgar and today's thread in question is, what is the weirdest thing about America that Americans don't realize is weird? I've done a few on this topic in the past, but every time I look through I'm like, if there's any new juicy nuggets. And these were all new juicy nuggets. First off, something that I guess is more American than I thought. Putting the real estate agent's face on for sale signs.
Really? It's everywhere here. It's so common. I guess let's see why people find it weird.
I just realized that's not a thing over here. I've never seen a real estate agent's face on one of the posters in the UK at all. They just have the word toilet with the word I missing. It's very weird. If you ever want to advertise a house in the UK, just put toilet on it, people come. Just remember, leave the I off. But in the US, very well known for this, this type of thing. That's, for instance, why there was a very good South Park episode recently making fun of this. Everyone has the back-breaking, like, shit-eating grin. And it is so interestingly, I guess, just American culture. Something you don't realize is more American than not here. It's big, really big. Yeah, I'm from the UK, and 2 years ago, I did Route 66, even taking the interstate, so not actual Route 66, but you get the idea. It took 4 days and 12 plus hours of driving to do it. It's huge, yeah.
Yeah, America's a huge country. I think a lot of people don't realize how huge it is. Because it's one country, but goddamn, it's huge.
I do oftentimes look at images of countries overlaid on other countries just because I like seeing the difference in size. So I have looked at this image of the UK on top of the US. It's crazy. It's crazy how small the country I live in now is in comparison. I'm doing a road trip, actually by the time you're watching this probably, in the US, where I'm driving from Jersey all the way through the Midwest, getting to Chicago, and then all the way to Toronto, and then back down to Jersey. And just the drive to Chicago's, like, has to be split up because it's, I think, like 12, 13 hours the way that I'm doing it, so... Oh boy. Also, isn't it weird that the Midwest isn't in the Midwest? If anything, it's in the Middle East. Just saying. Alright, next up we have how easy it is for an outsider to make friends. I do think it's interesting.
I think Midwest is historically, because the country started out in the East, and you know, kind of how it spread out West, is just, it was Midwest, and that it, in like 1800s, it felt Midwest, and they started calling it Midwest, because, you know, this United States didn't have all the territories yet, so it was the Midwest, and you know, since it was, they kind of left it like that.
That's because maybe, from my experience, anyone that is not from your area is immediately more interesting. At least it was for me growing up. It's like, wow, you're phenomenal. You come from Pennsylvania? Phew. Oh, Canada? That's cool. Bringing my girlfriend around New Jersey, just her accent, and people go, what? She's not from around these parts. In the UK, what are there, like, over 50 different accents within, like, County Durham? So, you know, I feel like you hear different accents all the time, you're more used to it. So, basically, people are super friendly in America, especially to outsiders, according to this. Y'all can strike a conversation with a tree. That's because Americans don't know that trees aren't people. You literally don't need anyone to respond. You're like, yeah, really? I literally cut off the sentence to tell a not funny joke. I do feel like Americans abroad do get a bad rap for talking a lot. I once went on a date with a girl. I think she came from Lithuania. And I just felt like it was so many awkward silences. So when I hear a silence, I seek to fill silence with something interesting or talk or give them a question they can answer. I had to do that like so many times. And then at one point she said, "You really like to hear your own voice." And I was like, what?
Oh, shit! That's not a compliment either. Oh, god damn. Yeah, I don't know. I like silence. I don't know.
No, you don't.
I do.
You don't.
Rochelle.
Yes.
You cannot sit in silence.
That's why I know you don't like silence.
I like silence. I'm forced to not live in silence. I love silence.
You chose this life.
when I'm by myself, you don't hear me like playing music, no nothing. I just sit there. And then you come in the kitchen.
How long is that? 5 minutes?
The Breakfast Club. Bitches. I'm like, oh my god.
And then hear nothing. Like, if you would... Alright, this one, because I made a whole video about it. Prescription drug ads that are on TV that say side effects may include death. I think I've said this one before. America...
Yeah, we talked about this in the other video about the drug commercials. Is weird.
Are well aware of this. I've made an entire video about how this phenomenon came to be and how it was actually a British company's fault. So if you haven't seen that yet, give it a watch. The options when ordering food. I thought it was just a TV joke. I feel naughty asking swap chips for mash, but you guys can request pretty much anything. Yeah, just looking at like what you can get when you ask for eggs in the States at your local diner. There's so many different options that I think has always thrown every British friend off that I take to a diner. They're always like, what? What do you mean, how do I want my eggs cooked? And it's like, no, you know, sunny side up, over easy, you know, you got scrambled, you got no poach, you give me options. And then it's like, how runny do you want the yolk? Or just take a break to Cheesecake Factory, because the size of those menus, the bigger a menu, the less I trust a place for the most part, except for like Cheesecake Factory, I thought they nailed it. Next, The gigantic open spaces everywhere. So much space. Yeah, someone
But that goes together with they said before how big the country is because it's so big. There's so much open space.
who's not yet until this week been to the Midwest. I'm assuming as soon as you're in like the Kansas, Oklahoma, the prairie, it's going to just be nothingness, right? It's big open space. I read a book once. That's embarrassing. Just read a book once. Is that it? I went there for university, and honestly, Americans just do the little things that are generally nice. Holding the door open, smiling if you make eye contact.
He's from the UK.
No, I think he's American, but he lives in UK now because his girlfriend is from the UK. That's how I took it.
Oh, because then he thinks it's normal too.
Yes, I do think that's he's yeah, because the Lithuanian girl said he talked too much.
Oh,
right. So he has to be American because Americans talk too much. But yeah, so I think to him it's normal, but he's just reading Reddit what people are saying. I guess Europeans or for whatever.
Please saying a quick greeting, etc. Random compliments too. And I never get the vibe that people are just making them up, like some of my friends at the time. Ooh, rough. If someone complimented someone's clothes, size, hair, it felt like they meant it. You know, they just didn't seem to hold back the random thoughts, and they said them out loud. You know, well, I feel like usually that's pitched as a negative, so I'll take that as a positive. I didn't even notice the door holding thing after the first few days. And when I went back to my country, I missed it. That is a thing I have noticed, actually. I will agree, from my experience, Americans are way more likely to hold the door open for you. At least compared to London. I'll preface that. Someone from the country of not London is going to be like, wait a minute. Yeah, people generally run ahead to hold...
Hard to say. I don't remember. It's been a long time. I really don't remember such minor things as door holding, how it was back in Lithuania. I don't know.
The door open for people with their hands full. Right? Because I live in London. I feel like anyone that's not London...
Yeah, that I would say yes. Sometimes people like maybe overhold. Like somebody sees you coming, like, I don't know. Like, you know how in the gym, like we have the little bridge to go, like at the end of the bridge, somebody see you, they'll just hold the door for you for like 10 seconds. That's extra.
And then you have to run.
Yeah, then they because then they force you to run to not inconvenience them because they're holding the damn door. I can open my own damn door. Like I don't need you. If you're right in front of me, it's okay if you hold the door nice, but I don't need you to hold the door for like 10-15 seconds for me because then I feel uncomfortable to have to run. So not inconvenient. That is because some people are like overdo the door holding thing.
I
The news channels display far too much info on the screen.
Because the opposite is they wait to hold back for you to go open the door.
Actually never quite understood that as a kid or as an adult. When I used to watch the Onion News channel, which was a parody of news channels, I had to watch it twice because there was always a ticker of extra news at the bottom, except on the Onions that was just a really funny thing, so I couldn't focus on the video at the same time. But in actual American news, that's how you're supposed to like quickly glance down to, alright, looks like Osama's dead. Anyway, what's going on with oh shoot, the Dow is down, I guess. Darn, coffee all the time. I got...
The news, well, I don't watch it, but it's usually just a summary on the bottom. So if you watch the actual news, you don't need to read it. They kind of...
No, but it's different news.
No, it's the same as just the summary. It's the headline title.
No, it's different news.
I feel like it's
No,
just
he's
the
talking
title.
about the runner. There's another one that's running.
Yeah,
it's
no.
different news.
I feel like it's just basically the summarizes what... Yeah.
There's one that's the summary, and they're talking about it, but then there's another one under.
But another is just the summary of all news, like a story 5 minutes later is going to talk about something that's running. That's what I'm saying. Like if the news show is an hour long, basically all the news is their runner, and then they talk about it throughout the whole hour. So if you watch the whole hour, you don't need to be reading. That's what I'm saying.
Barcelona and was completely embarrassed when I asked the artist if he wanted a coffee from next door. He told me, oh no, I have to keep working. He thought I wanted to go with him for a while. Well, I think maybe that's a language barrier, because that's like 2 words off. Saying, do you want a coffee? I feel like that means, do you want me to get you one? If you say, do you want to get a coffee? Well, then that means going with you. So I thought maybe that was a language barrier thing. We do like our coffee, but it's very different to coffee everywhere else that I've ever been.
Would anybody like more coffee?
Yeah, so what we're seeing abroad, that coffee is like a you sit, chill, and drink coffee. Here, I guess when you say you want to grab a coffee, it's kind of the same thing, though. When you say grab a coffee, you don't expect, buy coffee and leave. You kind of expect to like chat a little bit.
You don't know sometimes.
Coffee?
Coffee in America is, just big, huge amounts of filtered coffee, usually in the big jugs. I'm used to the big Wawa experience. It's just constant drinking large amounts of not that strong coffee on the go.
Whipped cream, caramel, and 2 lumps of chocolate.
You know what I mean? It's like coffee drinks. That's it. America's not really big into coffee. They're big into coffee drinks.
I'll have a Trenta no foam 5-shot half cap, no foam, pumpkin spice latte with no foam at 210 degrees.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but there's a big difference. The toilet is so full of water. I always have to convince myself that I'm not about to dunk my cheeks. Why do people complain about this? It's a positive thing because it's way more efficient for making sure all the stuff that goes in the toilet goes out of the toilet. UK toilets and a lot around Europe, there's so little water in there, you have to like squint to see. And then when you poo, the poop, whatever you want to call it, it goes on the shelf. It's like the Germans, they love their little poo shelf so they can look at it and be like, oh, das Scheiße sieht so gut aus. Meine Scheiße sieht so gut aus. Danke. Yeah, I don't like that because then the water that's got to clear it up is going to leave behind things. You got to brush it up.
That's too much.
It pushes it all over.
No, that's too much.
But American toilets beat UK toilets every time. Cashiers in stores standing. I hate that that's a uniquely American thing. When I worked at the old Pizza Hut for 5 years, if I was caught sitting down, that would be it. Like, I would hear it, I'm supposed to be standing, so that way I'm more readily able to answer the phones and fold boxes or roll silverware or do other things. Even though I could do those sitting, they would sometimes let you do it if it was really dead in the store and you were doing other things, like folding boxes and such. Otherwise, no, I do think that they should pass some sort of law to make it, like, not allowed. You shouldn't have to pass a law for that. I don't think any other country has needed a law for that. But the U.S. clearly needs a law to be like, hey, cashiers don't have to stand. You're not allowed to mandate that they stand. You don't have to say that they can sit or they have to sit. Just say that they don't have to stand. There's going to be so many comments being like, you boot-licking government lover, man, my libertarian friends ain't never...
The company has the choice to do that because we have all the year in their city. There's also other places too, small supermarkets in their city. We have a good choice.
Yeah, it just depends where you work.
Mm-hmm. Let my cashiers sit. What are they doing sitting? Probably texting them communists like Kamala. My boyfriend is Scottish. When people hear his accent in the States, they go crazy. It's true. However, that has nothing to do with the topic at hand, right? What is the weirdest thing about America that Americans don't realize is weird? And this person that everyone upvoted said, my boyfriend is Scottish. When people hear his accent, they just go crazy. I guess I would agree with you. Americans don't realize it's weird to go crazy for your Scottish boyfriend. He's yours. Stay away, America. The work culture is crazy. I work there and some people just don't take time off. They're basically on call all the time, evenings, weekends, whatever. That is part of the work culture, but also because of the laws. A lot of these people that are super workaholic don't really have many other options at their job. A lot of places do not have paid holiday or paid vacation days. I've made an entire video about basic workers' rights in the UK versus the US, and it's just crazy. People say, oh, I've got holiday at my job. I'm like, yes, you do, because your job thankfully gave it to you. But the government should make sure that the jobs actually do give it to everybody. Otherwise, people like me that worked 5 years as a server at a Pizza Hut would receive 0 days of paid holiday. That's insane.
That's...
Yeah, no, we never have paid holiday. When I was working in the movie theaters, no paid holiday.
It's a touchy subject because how different America is for Europe. America is very much small business. A lot of it is small businesses. And small businesses can't exactly afford to give employees paid holidays either. So it's like, it's tough because from an employer's perspective, not that I don't want to give you a paid holiday, I can't afford. Mm-hmm. You know, like, and if government forces me to give you a paid holiday, then I have to pay you less. You know, like that's just how it is. So, but from an employee's perspective, I also see, you know, like, oh, paid holiday, you want paid holiday. So it's a tough. I don't know. Like I think that this difference comes from the fact that America is so heavily is small business based versus Europe is not. You know, that's why it's bigger businesses. They can afford to give paid holidays. You know, they have deeper pockets versus small business. Like the owners, they're not like rich people. They're like really making end meets. Basically, they're the same ones working that job, just paying their own salary, and then, you know, it's tough. It's not something that I don't know. Now, I would maybe support a law that must give vacations if you have more than 100 employees. At that point, I don't think you're no longer a small business if you have 100 employees. But somebody who has 3 employees, to force them to give somebody now vacations, I don't think you have to do that. I don't believe in that.
You say that to someone that lives not in the U.S., they'd be like, what? That's freaking dystopian and weird. 5 years working at a place, you don't get a single day paid holiday. Yeah, that's just the way it is in the States. But people like this comment on Reddit will chalk it up to, people just love working. That's not it. I genuinely don't think that's it at all. I think that's some really bad take. Americans don't necessarily love to work. They just fucking have to, because that's the way the system is at the
And
moment.
they can't
So,
afford to take
sorry.
a break.
Yeah,
You have to
also,
work.
also, oftentimes people, well, he said love working, not love working. They, even if they had the option for vacation, they would still work and just take vacation pay, but still work, not take vacation because they have to.
Pushing back, no. The tax isn't automatically added to the price shown in shops, restaurants, etc. I only have $1 in my pocket. I'd like to use it straight away and see what I can buy for that $1 without having to try to find the tax rate out
We talked about this in the other video too.
while calculating it. I will say that's one of the worst things that I'm still a bit surprised is a thing in the US. Every positive you can say, like, oh, every state wants to have different things. All of those positives are purely for companies. Like, purely for corporations to not have to worry as much about things. None of that is for the consumer. The consumer, as someone who's experienced both ways of life, would much more prefer to just have a number and not have to think. Especially because, you know, when you go on like one of those cheap airlines and you say, oh, it's only like $30 to get on this flight. That's great. And
That is true what he's saying, that it's all to benefit companies, yes, but if you don't benefit companies, you know, if you make companies work harder, they're gonna take that cost at you and gonna charge you more. So, you know, like it's such a, I don't think anybody here living in the States are bothered by it. It's more that when people come to shop here from overseas, they are bothered by it. So I don't see the need to change because I don't really hear anybody complaining about having the tax not included. Mm-hmm. Like for here, people who live here, that's just how it is. It doesn't bother anybody.
I think what's issue is more like if there's hidden fees, like aside from tax, like
yes,
charge,
that I agree.
resort fee,
that's bullshit,
tipping fee, this fee, like
no,
stuff.
That is bullshit. But the tax itself, yeah, because if they start forcing companies to include the tax, and then they're gonna charge us more. It's just what it is.
And then you get there and they're like, oh, that suitcase is larger than my hand, sir. That's $50. You're like, fuck. So you get $50 and you sit down and like, sorry, you have to stand unless you pay another $50. And every little extra fee that they charge you for the oxygen that drops down, everything that they charge on those flights makes you feel a bit more annoyed. That's American culture with the taxes not being added automatically. It's that little bit. Anyway, thank you for listening to my YouTube video. If you want, you can give me a tip, 10%, sorry, 10%'s not supposed to be there, 20%. Every time someone asks you for more money, the taxes, the tips, it doesn't feel nice. Just have that included in, and people won't feel as bad about it. That is a weird American thing. Radically different laws for each state. Yeah, you can do something illegal in one, travel a few miles, and then boom. Yeah, but that's, maybe it's because I grew up like that. I'm like, that's normal.
Yeah, we kind of touched this in other videos. Think of the states as countries in Europe. That's how you got to think of them. It's each state has its own laws, how countries in Europe do, so it's the same thing.
If I wanted to do something illegal, here's an example. Oh, I want to smoke a little weed legally. All I got to do is take a train or take a plane to Amsterdam, and then there you go. Or if I want to drive 200 kilometers an hour, I could just take a flight to Germany and hop on the Autobahn. Right. So, you know, it's a slightly similar thing. I guess because it's so much easier to cross state lines, that does make it a lot more interesting, but I also live on an island. When I was a kid, fireworks were very much illegal in my home state of New Jersey, but that doesn't mean that people didn't light fireworks every 4th of July. All it meant was you took a really quick drive across the Christiana Bridge to Delaware and got some there. Or you could just drive across the Walt Whitman, head to Pennsylvania, just buy them there. And when you come back, you light it up, hooray! No, you're not supposed to light them up. But also, it's America, it's about freedom. This state says no fireworks, I'm going to Pennsylvania. I don't want to do that normally, but I'm going to do it for the fireworks. It's not uniquely American. There are definitely laws between Switzerland and Germany that things are illegal in one area, and you can just drive across the border and do things. And same thing with France, same thing with Spain and Portugal. I guess if you want to do it because you're in the same country, sure, but then you can make that argument about going between, like, England and Scotland. They're the same, like, United Kingdom, but there are definitely laws that are different in between them that I'm not getting into. You guys do love your big cars, huh? Yeah, that, yet again, isn't necessarily because we love our big cars as much as the industry has kind of pushed Americans towards bigger cars. I know that
I think I like space.
Nah, the bigger cars are safer, period. It's just because we can afford to have it because gas is cheap compared to Europe. I think if, roads, if Europe has more, like, bigger parking space, I guess overall Europe is not made for big cars. You know, the spaces are small, the gas is super fucking expensive. Here, if the gas was expensive, people wouldn't drive big cars either. Gas is cheap, so, you know, and, roads are big, gas is cheap, you have the money, why can't you do what you want? And if you feel safer in a big car, why not feel safer? Why you have to, you know, drive in a fucking...
Also, you need a lot of stuff to, like, like even when you do groceries, you don't buy like little stuff. It's a lot of big stuff, so you have to carry stuff. And also for like, for example, to bring stuff to work, to like carry.
Great point. Yeah. Also, because I said a lot of Americans are small businesses. A lot of them are like independent contractors, like plumbers, electricians. Like they work for themselves, so they're kind of like they need their own vehicle. In this case, like a truck for their tools. When they come to fix your toilet, if they got to bring pipes and stuff like that, they have to have a car, so they have a truck for that. So and as I said, most of the industries, they're independent contractors, so they kind of work for themselves. They're a business in a sense, a small business of one. So nobody's gonna provide them a business car to drive, with all the equipment. So they need that. So it's I don't. Sure, some people do love a car because it's big, ego thing, whatever. But a lot of it is not that because they love the cars, but
you need it to have a big car.
Either you need it, you feel safer in it. There's
the people who usually have the smaller cars are like students.
Yes, because you can't afford it because it's more expensive. Yeah, but if you can afford it, I'm pretty sure. I don't know anybody who would, if they had an option and they could afford an option of a sedan and SUV, they would pick a sedan over SUV. I don't know of any person who would do that.
And also for travel too, because we don't have really good public transportation. So oftentimes we have like a large family size. Everyone needs a large car to go do that, to go travel.
Might not make sense, but from a health and safety perspective, if your neighbor and every neighbor on the road has a bigger truck than your truck, if I get in an accident with my neighbor, I will actually die because these trucks are so big, they're actually going to affect my life. So then you have to get a bigger truck so that you can compete with those trucks if you ever get in an accident. And now all the people that are in small little Priuses are looking up like, Jesus Christ, these giant trucks. This is a weird one that people, I feel like all...
I love the Prius.
They're too frail. Too frail. Especially in the highways.
When the truck drives by the Prius, you're like shaking.
No.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Please complain about in my comment section, and I don't know why. I think Brits have an aversion to giving their credit card to someone. We have this as when the workers at food places take your card and then they give it back to you and you gotta pay it, whatever.
I feel like I read this thread because some of these either made people comment the same thing on every thread, but some of these comments I recognize like the same.
That is weird nowadays to
when
do
they take
that.
the card away.
They take the card.
Yeah.
They should bring the machine. They should have the machine and just do it there.
Yeah. For me, as someone, again, who worked as a server for 5 years, I would just take the card, I put it in the reader, and I write down the stuff, and then bring it back to you. It saves you time. I've just realized that this was because I don't think the contactless payments were a thing in the States when I worked there. I feel like the major reason that we would just take cards and then, take them to pay was that's just always how it was done. There's always just a level of trust there. And also, if you were stupid enough to actually, steal someone's information, you could immediately find that out. To be fair, I think that did happen. At the Pizza Hut I worked at, one of the employees was caught doing that to someone. So, you have reason to fear it, but, they got all the money back and the employee was fired and I think thrown in jail or something. So, tipping is super weird. It is, but also, if I'm only being paid $2.13 an hour, I'm desperate. I'm desperate for the money because I'm not being paid because the laws are made this way. Yes, I've made an entire video about that. It's one of my best videos from 5 years ago. So, if you haven't seen the video on tipping, there's sketches. The flags everywhere. Yeah, everywhere I've ever visited, the only place that's ever come close to the amount of flags was actually China. So I don't know what that says, but China had so many Chinese flags and loads of flags about the tenets of communism all around when I was in Guangzhou and Hainan with my good friend Kim. But yeah, I feel like Americans these days always do find it this weird sense of patriotism around the flag, but that just comes from our upbringing, how it is instilled in us in school in every possible turn. You have to write essays about what the flag means to you. You have to pledge allegiance to it as a child every single day. It's very much part of the brainwashing of American society. Yes, that's what it is. One thing that I always find weird, if you're ever on the male living space subreddit, you'll always be able to tell when someone's an American, in university. They'll put an American flag, just hang it on the wall and be like, that's my decor. I just like my freedoms. And it's so cringe. Every comment is always like, mate, just take the flag down. They're like, what's wrong? Do you not like the flag?
But what's interesting is different when it's a different country's flag. Like, if you put, a Jamaican flag, a Brazilian flag, a French flag.
Why is it different?
Because the connotations is so different. Because when you see someone hanging an American flag, it's like, they're very, maybe a high ego, very egocentric. But for some reason, for other countries' flag, it looks like more festive.
It looks like they're missing home. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Sure. But, like, your personality doesn't have to be a flag. The billboards on the interstates, only 20 miles to, only 15 miles to, and some more chain business, oh, fireworks everywhere. I feel like that's actually really useful, though. Am I crazy? I know that when I'm driving on, like, Route 55 in Jersey, or
It's commercials, advertising. I mean, just goes back to the culture of advertising and consumerism here, I guess.
Turnpike, for
Now, what was weird for me, when you leave Miami, you start seeing all the Jesus is coming billboards, you know, all the religious billboards, like anti-abortion, all that stuff. That is weird, because, yeah, but the regular billboard, like the McDonald's, I don't care for that.
instance, you want to know what's up ahead. So you can be like, how much gas do I have to tank? Maybe I can last 30 more minutes. Oh, it says, 2 stops from now there's going to be like a Chick-fil-A. All right, that sounds good. Right? We do have those in the UK, but not as often. But on this tangent, one thing that hasn't come up in this thread that's quite niche, that my girlfriend found quite weird about her time in America, in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, was so many different roads that you drive on have a sign warning you over and over, no matter how many times you've seen this sign that says, bridge freezes before road surface. Yeah, that's like basic science, right? But every single time you come to any sort of bridge, and there are a lot of bridges. You might not know. There's a lot of bridges in New Jersey. Loads of creeks, loads of rivers, loads of tributaries, all over the place. And you're always going over them. And so the state is always trying to warn you, like, hey, I don't know if you know this, but the bridge freezes before the road surface. We want you to know at every possible...
I think that's for safety.
I've never seen that sign, but then again, bridges don't freeze nothing here either. So.
Moment. That is weird. I will say that's weird. I didn't realize it was weird. But now I know it's weird. But if you like my Reddit videos, that's...
I think they have a responsibility to do that.
Cool.
If there's not a sign, there would face some sort of liability.
Yeah.
Guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord. And as always, share as much kindness as possible.